Rugby players often train intensely to overpower their opponents on the field. So, it's no surprise that they build tremendous strength from years of dedicated muscle training. But with all that raw power, could a rugby player actually stand a chance against a professional MMA fighter? To find out, let's take a look at some moments where rugby players go head-to-head with MMA fighters. Just like in this video, where a rugby player boldly challenges two MMA fighters to a fight. With the power he possesses, could this rugby player actually win the match? Surprisingly, the moment the fight begins, the rugby player quickly lands a powerful punch that knocks his opponent down. Thanks to that, he wins the fight in just a matter of seconds. After that match, the rugby player faces the second MMA fighter. In this round, the MMA fighter clearly looks exhausted, while the rugby player still has a lot of strength left. And sure enough, due to losing so much stamina, the MMA fighter can do nothing but take blow after blow from the rugby player. Still with the same rugby player, this time he's up against another MMA fighter. So, will the rugby player win this match as easily as before? Just like in the previous fight, the rugby player comes in swinging, fighting aggressively and landing several hits on the MMA fighter. It's clear that he has the upper hand in stand-up fighting. This really works to his advantage. However, the MMA fighter is much stronger when it comes to ground fighting. But after a while, the rugby player starts to run out of stamina. This gives the MMA fighter the perfect chance to lock him in a submission hold, forcing the rugby player to tap out. In the end, the rugby player has to accept a bitter defeat. In the next moment, the rugby player once again faces off with the MMA fighter. But this time, it seems like the MMA fighter is going to have a hard time going up against the much bigger rugby player. At the start of the fight, the rugby player comes out aggressively, unleashing a flurry of punches. All the MMA fighter can do is defend himself. Not long after, the rugby player tries to take the fight to the ground. Unfortunately, that move still isn't enough to secure a win. As they return to a standing fight, the rugby player seizes the opportunity, landing a solid punch right to his opponent's face. The MMA fighter is left completely stunned and unable to react. With that final powerful blow, the rugby player is officially declared the winner. A rugby player showed remarkable courage by agreeing to train and fight with an MMA coach for a full year in Sweden. But the outcome shocked everyone.
This MMA, are you ready? Are you ready? Fight!
Right from the start, the rugby player came out aggressively, throwing a rapid series of punches. Despite that, the MMA coach held his ground and matched the pace. As the fight went on, the intensity ramped up. Both fighters kept exchanging blows, eager to prove who was stronger. But soon, the MMA coach began to weaken. One powerful strike from the rugby player knocked him down onto the sand. In the end, a fierce undercut from the rugby player sealed the deal. The MMA coach could no longer continue. This time, The fight was unlike any before. One MMA fighter was set to face off against two rugby players. The question was, who would come out on top?
You ready? You ready? Hey!
As soon as the fight began, one of the rugby players launched a hard-hitting strike at the MMA fighter, but the fighter quickly recovered. He even managed to turn the tables, locking his opponent into a hold that forced the rugby player to tap out. In the second round, the MMA fighter faced a much larger rugby opponent. Still, he initially held the upper hand. But momentum shifted fast. The MMA fighter took a barrage of hits and could no longer fight back. In the end, the referee stepped in and stopped the match, seeing the MMA fighter was no longer able to continue. A rugby player challenges a professional boxer in a sparring match. With his massive build, can the rugby player actually win? At the start of the fight, the rugby player launches a fierce attack with full force, but the boxer manages to keep up and counter his moves. Even so, the relentless assault from the rugby player puts the boxer on the defensive, forcing him to focus only on blocking the oncoming punches. As you can see for yourself, the boxer is clearly overwhelmed and unable to retaliate under the pressure of those powerful strikes. This goes to show that a rugby player can possess incredible strength, even in a one-on-one fight like this. Who would have thought that this rugby player would boldly challenge a world boxing champion to a fight? And just wait until you see how it all ends. At the start of the match, the rugby player came in strong, putting serious pressure on his opponent, backing the boxer into a corner of the ring. Right after that early attack, things got even more intense. You could see the boxer start to step up his game, launching stronger attacks in an effort to take the rugby player down. The turning point came when the rugby player threw a heavy punch, but the boxer dodged it and countered with a blow of his own, knocking the rugby player down into the sand.